So for this assignment, I decided to read Grace Hopper, Queen of Computer Code. It is written by Lori Walmark and illustrated by Katie Wu. I decided to do this book only because, in my experience, I have not read a lot of books regarding women in this field, especially math and science. So I felt compelled to read it. I thought it was going to be an interesting read, and it was. A little bit about the author. This book first was written in 2017, so she is a newer author. She is inspired by getting the word out to young people about women in these fields. And she was so inspired by Grace Hopper and what she contributed to history that she decided to write a book on her. Lori is also a professor at a community college where she teaches science as well. So that was definitely an inspiration for her. Interestingly, too, Katie Wu, the illustrator, she is a freelance artist based out of New Jersey, and she has done many works with many big-time corporations. One thing I thought was pretty interesting is that she also worked on Coraline, the movie. So she likes to kind of just doodle and draw and kind of contribute what she can to all these different corporations. So a little bit about this book. It is about Grace Hopper. She was very passionate. She was a passionate trailblazer in math and science. This book is about how she would program computers and how she came up with the codes for them. She joined the Navy, despite what they said. They did not want her there. Because she was a little older when she joined and she didn't make the weight, so she had convinced them to join, and it kind of goes into detail about what she contributed there. She was in the Navy for quite some time. 7 interesting things about this book. So at the age of 7, her hobby was to dismantle clocks and put them back together. She was completely fascinated by just how you could take something apart and put it back together and make it just the same. She was really passionate about that. She finished high school 2 years early, but even though she was good in all her subjects, especially math and science, she failed Latin. And because she failed Latin, it was harder for her to get into college. So she became obsessed with Latin almost, that she, when she finally graduated, she graduated in honors because of that class. After that, she went to college, and she went to an all-girls college, and later eventually became a teacher there, which I thought was kind of nice. She joined the Navy and was assigned to write programs for the first computer ever built, which is super interesting. I thought this was pretty cool when I read it. She coined the computer bug, the phrase "the computer bug," after finding a moth stuck in one of her computers. One of the computers was not working, and she was afraid it was going to be her code for the program, and it wasn't. It was literally a bug stuck in the computer. So that's where that phrase comes from. When she was 60, she was forced to retire from the Navy. That really kind of just made her really sad and really lost. But they did ask her to come back for a 6-month assignment, which then turned into 20 years. So at the age of 80, she finally retired as an admiral. And then later, when she passed, 10 years after that, she was buried with full honors. So that was really nice. Okay, let's see. So this, as I mentioned before, the author was really inspired by women in the field of science and math, as herself is a professor at a community college. So she decided to write a book about Grace Hopper and all the accomplishments that she made for our military, which I thought was really awesome. I would categorize this as an interpretive nonfiction and partial biography because the story kind of takes you on a journey of key moments in Grace Hopper's lifetime, but it doesn't really go into much detail about everything in her life. It kind of just explains key moments, what she contributed to the military and her education. The story is in a timeline structure and style. The illustrations, if I can show you, are cartoon-like. They make the story more detailed, and they give you visuals of kind of what it was like for her when she went to school and when she joined the Navy, and all her working on the computers. As you can see, the pictures take up majority of the page. The whole page is full. The text is pretty lengthy. It does go into a lot of detail of what she kind of went through while she was in the Navy, and kind of how she came up with these programs and these codes for the computer. Let's see. The text was it was lengthy, but it was really easy to read. I would suggest it to 5th grade and on, maybe even 4th grade, because it was lengthy. It was a pretty easy read, so I would definitely suggest that. I would also think that it would be a great book for students to read. Just not only does it explain computer codes and the military and a journey in that, it also explains and kind of gives detail to a woman's side to it. I think young girls find the same story being written, and they kind of read the same either series or books, that it kind of just becomes ingrained in their head that they have to read only these kinds of books. So I think it's really great how Lori wrote this book, not only about this woman in this field, but also how she was also in the military and what she contributed to that. So I think that was actually really great. And I think it's really important for young girls to look up to trailblazers like Grace Hopper, because she did contribute a lot to our military and to our history, and she should be recognized for it. So that is my review on Grace Hopper, Queen of Computer Code.